All right, Hudson, sing us in.
This is the end. This is the end, beautiful friend.
Uptown
This
Funk.
is the end, my only friend. The end of our elaborate plans. The end of everything that stands. This is the end.
Dum, 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 dum.
Can you picture what will be?
This is how you don't get a DMCA strike.
Free.
Okay, we going?
We are in a mood today.
All right.
Hey everyone, welcome to the very last SPSM Chat. I've never gotten this right. 3.0. Welcome, the last one. I mean, this certainly isn't the very last SPSM Chat. I can't give myself that much cred. But for this team, this is it. It's our last night. So we've gotten most of the crew here, and I hope all of you are out there watching as well on the Twitter at SPSM Chat, on YouTube, all right, on youtube.com/SPSM Chat, facebook.com/SPSM Chat, rest in peace, Mixer, and go check out SPSMchat.com, because now that I'm no longer a host, I might have extra free time to actually update the blog one last time. So if you're watching this live, please let us know that you're here, especially if you're on Twitter, our home base. Make sure to use that hashtag SPSM. Before we get onto our round rectangle of esteemed co-host, I'm Rudy Caseres, at Rudy Caseres, on Twitter, the man with the plan.
The myth, the legend.
Yes. I on this last show, I usually do a lot of self-deprecating humor, but I will say this to pat myself on the back: I'm the unit. Let's take it to Marie.
Rudy, do you know what unit means?
I don't think he does.
Dum, 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 dum.
Hey everyone, it's Mxiety, also known as Marie Shanley. I am a mental health talk show host over on Twitch, where I host a show live. We talk to professionals and non-professionals to hear what... Geez, I'm really going down in flames here. I definitely know the show that I've been running for 3 years. I swear it's worth a watch. I also wrote a book, but in terms of this being the last episode, like that's something.
It sure is.
I was gonna say something, and the train of thought, all trains of thought have left the station. So I'm gonna go over to Hudson.
I just want to make clear that when Marie left the show a few months ago, the ratings went into the tank.
No, don't say it. No, not related.
We have the best ratings.
Everybody knows.
Okay, introduce yourself, Joelle.
Oh, hi. Yeah, so my name is Joelle Marie. I am a peer specialist by training and actually like by employment now, again, finally. So that's fun. Yeah, and I'm really, really excited. I don't want to quite mention right here where I'm employed right now because I'm just employed, but you know, everybody knows where I am employed, and I'm very excited to be there, frankly. So that's what I do here in Colorado now. And also I am autistic. I have OCD. I have been diagnosed with bipolar, and so I am bipolar, but like I'm not like bipolar anymore. I don't know. That's kind of up in the air. Anyway, so I've definitely had, you know, chronic suicidal thoughts pretty much all my life. I've attempted a few times, and like I'm kind of dealing with talking about that because I never really considered them attempts because nobody was around. So that's interesting. Anyway, so I'm really excited about being here again because I haven't been on the show for like 3 or 4 weeks, and now it's the last show. So yay, hi.
Loving the new hairdo, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Fire.
Hey, you guys literally have a room? Rudy?
Okay,
Yes.
Hudson. That didn't land, bud.
That is true.
We have one room.
Joel, you don't look like your picture. You look like your older brother.
Oh
Yeah,
my God,
well,
that's so
that
mean.
picture. Well, that picture was a few years ago, so it does make sense. I've grayed significantly since then.
You look
So
good.
it is what it is. I would. Speaking of suicide, I'd rather be getting older than the alternative. I do not want to die. That's a great way to start off.
Oh God, I thought you were going Benjamin Button.
That makes one of us.
Going that way. Wow.
That's an excellent way to start off. I feel like it's very appropriate.
I am Dr. Joelle Schwartz, clinical psychologist out of Torrance, California. I run a private practice where I do therapy and testing that is neurodiversity affirmative, LGBTQ affirmative, sex positive. Basically, if you are different or an oddball, you will find a home with me in my practice. I also run Schwartz Neurodiversity Services, which does coaching and consulting and education on neurodiversity topics, including an upcoming one on August 28th. There will be a live webinar called Challenging Myths About Autism, What Therapists and Assessors Need to Know, Lessons from the Neurodiversity Movement. So if you're a professional, please sign up for it. Yay! It's very cool stuff. And I'm going to miss Rudy. Rudy is the best. It's been great to know you, bud. Other than that, I'm just a huge music fan, so I was totally grooving on Hudson's This Is the End. I was actually listening to that record the other night.
Yeah, I would. I want to mention, Joel, that it's you came towards the end of our run, but you fat in well, fat, fit, fitted.
Yes.
You fitted in well. You took our humor.
The COVID 20 definitely has made me fat and well. Absolutely.
You will have been fitting in.
Fatting in, definitely. And I am body positive, so I'm happy.
We've moved on, Joel.
Totally.
It's time for Hudson.
No, go ahead, Joel.
Hudson's too pretty. Go back to me, the ugly mug with the wait. No.
Is it my turn?
Hudson.
Yeah.
Are you eating? What are you eating? Are those? Oh, okay.
Hello. Brought to you by Utz Cheese Balls with real cheese baked right on. Utz Cheese Balls. Hi, everybody. I'm Hudson. Thank you. That's my backup. I like my techno music live. It's really the only way to do it. My name is Hudson. I am a behavioral health system designer. I work with governments on how to design better systems of care. Father of two. My youngest is neurodivergent. I have a dog who's not dead in the background. She just sleeps very deeply at 14 years old. And tonight we will have Hamlet, who's more like ham big, whatever the opposite of Hamlet is. He's a porker now. He will be on towards the end of the show. Very excited to be here. Bittersweet as the last of the hurrah for my time with SPSM, but excited to see what happens next.
Yes, you got to close 2 different SPSM chats, so that's a running theme.
That's interesting. You're right, I did. What was it? Is it Conan O'Brien who has on Paul Rudd, and every time they do a movie clip, he like shows him a clip from the wrong movie or something?
From Mac and Me, yes, and it is Paul Rudd.
Yes, it's Mac and Me. Oh my God. All right, well, future SPSM host, I am available to close it down. Just so I can bring a pig or a dog or Mac and Me or whatever.
Okay, so before we get into our first question, I just want to make sure to, because I'm going to check on Twitter as well. So while I'm doing that, and while my dog is ripping up a bag, anyone want to share their favorite episode?
I love the music one. That was so much fun. I was grooving on it, and I got some good feedback on that one.
Dr. Bean, the video game doctor. I loved that one because I really got to talk about all my video game passions, and I can't unmount my camera, but I still have a couple, I changed my background to some of the old video game stuff, and then I just did a review of my favorite fantasy author of all time and get to do an interview, so it was pretty exciting.
Sorry.
Can we all agree that Carrie Fisher episode 1 was the worst?
As long as it's out there, yeah.
Which one?
Oh God, it was so bad.
I bowed out before it happened, so.
So, okay. So
That is
Uh,
the number one worst one. Now there were a couple droners, but that one was just like, because she like Blair Witched the camera the whole like the entire time, and then like she had like these bars behind her. I think she was like under her stairs or something, and then it was like talking to your mom's aunt on FaceTime. It was like,
so
wow.
those were not. That was not your favorite episode.
No,
I have to. Yeah. I have to say, one of the favorite ones, honestly, is for me is where we were talking about all the crap with Mental Health Month. I don't think I was even on that episode, but I really enjoyed it. Was I?
Okay.
I don't know.
I will say this, and this is a legit answer, that my favorite episode was the Valentine's Day one, because I believe that was the last one where we had all of us. So we all had fun. I felt like we were a tight unit. And that was a great way to have us all together and really share our experiences, good, bad, and bizarre. So I miss those days. Okay, are we ready to get to the questions? We have 5 of them today. Smoke them while you got them, because this is going to be a long one. Yeah. Okay, so question number 1, and it is a doozy, and this comes by way of Marie Shanley. How can mental health advocates present their mental health issues online in a safe way? Take it away, Marie.
Oh, you zoomed in on me and you can tell that like my camera went totally out of focus. So that's fun. Okay. Hi, everyone.
Okay, there we go.
Okay, I fixed it. Okay, so this has been a question for me that comes up a lot. There's a lot of mental health advocates out there, and there's always this like perception of, well, I want to talk about my depression and my anxiety and all that, but I don't want to bum people out. So how do I present it in a way that's like also safe for me? Because posting online often comes with lots of unsolicited advice from strangers, and there's just a lot. There's pressure to present yourself in a certain way and always be positive instead of maybe say the honest thing. So it's just that's been something that I wonder about, and it's been an ongoing question, which is why I wanted to ask everybody else what they thought. But in my opinion, kind of the conclusion that I've been able to draw from researching it and from writing articles on it is it's taking breaks and also finding a way, at the end of the day, finding a way to be authentic to yourself. So basically, if you can go to bed, when you go to sleep, you can sleep soundly knowing that you didn't like lie or pretend to be okay for the sake of clout online, then you're probably doing a good job. Oh, of course.
Oh yeah. Oh, definitely. It's an issue.
Yeah.
Like it's a known issue.
No,
yeah.
That was sarcastic.
There's so many mental health advocates. Oh, well, we both. There's
Maria,
so many
you
mental
autistic?
Health. What?
I said, Maria, are you autistic?
I mean, this has come up before, but I don't think so.
It's easier for me to talk about what other people should feel than to talk about my own feelings, is what I realized with SPSM at the beginning. I've gotten much better about it and realized that I can't mask and do all that stuff, but I'm with you.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's it. The whole like, do you mask your feelings so that other people, there's so many advocates out there who are just like spew out positive, like, I feel like crap, but we're going to get through this kind of messages. And
toxic positivity, it's called. I hate it.
Positivity.
I hate it.
Yes.
Never trust somebody who's happy all the time.
Yeah, no, that's a load of baloney. All right, you can move away from my face.
Baloney.
I will say, go ahead.
I mean, if Hudson's got something coming out.
Oh, Hudson's always got something coming out. That's not.
Okay, that's a point.
That's right. Go ahead. Yeah, leave us all up.
You should have that looked at, Hudson.
Okay, Hudson, what were you going to do? Say whatever. Okay, I'll go. Fine. I was going to say, I think that being a peer specialist actually really helps me with this. I do a lot in the online sphere, and it's really, it's kind of where I started doing peer specialist kind of stuff. And that's actually what made me want to be a peer specialist, where I started being a moderator and admin of this online discussion board that was by people who have lived experience, for people with lived experience. And I had to kind of balance that. Like, sometimes things are shit. And that's sometimes
It'd be like
how
that.
it is.
It'd be like that.
Right. So like, you can't always make things not be shit, but you can develop tools and like resources and supports to kind of deal with the shit. And so like, when I talk about where I was 10 years ago, I don't know that internally things are actually like doing a lot better, but I think that how I'm able to deal with that shit is much better. And so I think that's really how I can be authentic. Like, I can be like, wow, stuff is fucking sucky right now, but look at these things that I can do to kind of deal with that. And I really think it's so harmful to just pretend that like we never feel like crap. And if we do, like, don't acknowledge it. Or if we do, we just do this one or two things and like suddenly we'll feel better. Because that's bullshit. Like, it's hard being human. And then if you're human and you have a diagnosis, claim a diagnosis, or you've experienced trauma, you have extreme distress, however you want to put it, whatever however you define yourself, you have those things in addition. You have to navigate all these ways in the world that that are not built for you. So that sucks, but we can find ways to deal with it and to deal with it in a way that's not going to hurt us. And I think that's how we can be authentic about it, being honest about it.
Yeah, and before we get to Hudson, I want to make sure if you're participating in the Twitter chat, make sure to use the hashtag SPSM. I see you social worker students. What are you going to do when we're gone? How are you going to get credit? That's what I want to know. You're gonna have to participate in a boring Twitter chat.
No, they're gonna individually go to all of the work that we do elsewhere online.
There you go. I mean, I'll sign off if you're nice enough. Okay, social worker students. Okay, Hudson. Why are social work students cops without guns?
Oh my god.
No, I don't think it's students. I think it's social workers. I think that's the phrase. Okay, anyway, so the question, the topic.
Back to the question at hand.
Yeah.
What's the question?
Oh God.
I mean, I think the safe stuff is kind of like, handle it, don't give details to allow people to track you. Be aware when people are like, becoming too engaged in your whatnot. I mean, really, I think that for me, the past year has been more about figuring out how to express my own mental health issues and what's gone on. And to really just be honest about it. I realized that I was masking not just for myself, but also for my boys. And like, for those of you who know me, 2019, I mean, 2020 has been a pretty solid kick in the nuts, but 2019 was like a bend over the barrel, several kicks over and over and over again. I have found that I really separated parts of myself. I would have a certain face when I was on here, I'd have a certain face when I was at work, and a certain face when I was with my family. And I've spent the past year really working on trying to unite all of those things, both internally and externally, to just talk about it. Because I've found that the more honest I am about how I'm feeling and what I'm doing and who I am, the more people seem to resonate and respond. I found that my meme game was actually a lot more indicative of how I was feeling, and people were reacting more to that than what I was saying. So, I'll say today is a super sad day for me. I lost my nephew of 13 years old a year ago today to Ewing sarcoma cancer. And today has just been brutal. And as hard as today was, coming and seeing all of you here was a bright spot.
Can I just stop the show right here and say, I love you so much, Hudson Harris?
I love you more than Rudy
I
does.
love you more. And can we also talk about how like Hudson, like low key for a second, showed off his biceps and his muscles?
Yeah.
Can you do it again, please?
What do you mean? What are we doing?
Can we see some muscles, please?
Muscles? Just like go for it.
Yeah,
I don't
there
think
you
you
go.
can hit on co-host live on an SPSM chat, Rudy. I don't think that's in the rules.
What is happening?
Nobody knows. This is question
Joelle,
one. By the
did
way.
you,
We're half an hour into this, and then we're only question one.
I mean, this is not.
Hey, you can't fire me. I quit. Joel Schwartz.
Hello.
Timeline.
Okay, so lessons from somebody who has been a somewhat radical therapist in therapy groups and has been flamed multiple times online and have been through the gamut. I would say a couple things. I wrote down a list of 5 things. 1, reset expectations. There's no such thing as an online safe space. If you're going to be an advocate, you're going to be in the fray. And that means having support and engaging in self-care and picking your battles. Speaking of bringing support, always have a few people that you can rely on who can kind of come to your aid when you get that one jerk who's going to argue with you and treat you badly. You can have a few people come in and be like, hey, wait a minute, this is what we feel. And it's always nice to have some support. 3, you will find your audience. By being authentic. You don't have to be the advocate or the person for everybody, just for the few people in your pod who you will make a difference for, and that is enough. 4, people who are jerks online, it's more about them than you. We tend to center on ourselves. What did I do wrong? Oh, I'm such a terrible person. Oh, I've been caught. No, it's much more about their issues than yours. And to counterbalance that one a little bit, remain curious, because we all do make mistakes. And if we can respond to criticism in a curious rather than a defensive way, we often learn and become better advocates and leaders.
Oh my God, that was the best answer. You made all of us look really bad.
Thanks,
That's
Joel.
great, Joel.
You're welcome.
Can you
I
flex your
looked
brain
like
again?
myself. And that's not bad ever.
Okay, on that note, hey everyone, welcome to SPSM Chat, Suicide Prevention Social Media. If you're just joining us right now, this is our last episode, and we're going out with a bang. We're talking about the issues that we've, for whatever reason, have not had an opportunity to get to. So here we are.
Issue 1.
Yes. That takes us to question number 2, and great comments on across the social medias. I see you, Gwendolyn. Zach needs Hamlet, and so do I. Hello, Maria, as well. I see the social worker students on Twitter as well. Hello, Kevix. How are you doing? Question number 2, and it is a doozy, and this comes all the way from, who the fuck asked this? Joelle.
All the way from next door.
What can we do to be more effective when supporting individuals with different communication needs? Take it away at the Laz.
So I think there can be a couple different strategies, but I think a lot of it is coming at it from a specific point of view. I think there's a tendency to assign, ability or competency to the way that someone is communicating, and that's always, that's always bullshit. Obviously, I have to say that because I say that all the time. Anyway, that's always bullshit, because there's just really very infrequently a correlation between how someone communicates and if they know what they need. And most people have some sense of what they need and what they want, and what they don't need and what they don't want. So, things that I do when someone is communicating in a way that may be difficult for me to understand because I'm not used to it. For example, using 1 or 2 words at a time, or even 1 word. I explain to them, maybe if they're okay with it, I'm going to ask them a question and they can say yes or no. And then I can work to understand them better. And I literally phrase it like that. And actually, in a recent case, this was happening with someone who was so upset that they were having trouble communicating beyond that. And that really helped, because I, informed them that I was going to work with them to understand them, because that was really important, that we work together and I understand them. And I think that is kind of the point where we need to come at. We have to assume competency. We have to assume people know themselves and they know what they want, and that it's our job to figure out how to understand them where they are, not to say, okay, well, you are not communicating in a typical way, so you obviously don't know what you want. And it infuriates me when we come at support from that way, because it really sorry, I'm trying not to be like flippy. I think it really diminishes agency, and it really gives way to abuse so often. And I really honestly think that there's always a way to figure out what someone wants or prefers and what they don't want and prefer. And even if it's down to asking yes or no questions or offering one choice and they can agree to it or not. And I think we really need to work at that, and we need to assume people have a preference, know their needs.
Take it away, Marie, who's now streaming live at twitch.tv/Mxiety.
That is correct, Rudy. Can I have the question up again? Okay.
Yes, there we go.
Yes, thank you. Supporting individuals with different communication needs. Somebody said this already in the tweets, and it was what I was going to say, so I'm saying it anyway. Ask them, like legit, ask them, and that's the bottom line. Making sure that they are heard, and making sure that everybody's needs are heard. And when you're in a position like I am, where I talk to a lot of people every day, and I can't stretch myself out to make sure that I can, like on one show, I can't possibly make it so that I am accessible to everybody, but you can gosh darn believe that I try. So if I can try, then you can try. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
When was the last time you dealt with a criticism that you weren't accessible to people with communication differences?
Last show, because I have a new overlay, so I have new closed captions that people can toggle on and off, and I feel like that's easier because for some people actually the wording is distracting and they find it harder to watch because there's closed captions directly on the screen. So I use a Twitch extension now to close caption, and so people were complaining because they were like, well, I don't have the captions on. I was like, well, they're accessible and they're right there, and they're like, well, that you can't see them all the time, and what if I can't toggle them? And I was like, I don't know what to tell you, because they were bothering people the other way, now they're bothering people this way. I also still have a hard time. I'm figuring out right now how to get my how to get all of my interviews to have captions, so we're in the process of doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of harder to watch, what say you to question number 2, Hudson Harris?
I would go back to one of the very first things that Joelle ever taught me about how to work and talk with my son, which was just to sit and listen. We have 2 ears and one mouth, and we should use them accordingly. Like, there's not much more I can say than what Joelle and Mxiety said. I think all too often we try and put our own ideas and our own thoughts onto people about how they should react, where they should react, what they should do. And all too often we miss just the simple act of sitting with somebody and letting them speak at their own pace, in their own way. Sometimes it's not even speaking, sometimes it's writing, sometimes it's art, whatever it is, but giving people the space to communicate how they want to.
Mm-hmm.
What say you, Dr. Joel Schwartz?
I don't know if I could add much. I would just add maybe patience. Especially when you're dealing with different skills, different types of neurodivergence. You might even have people whose communication needs are completely opposed to one another in terms of how they communicate and how they prefer to communicate. And in those cases, there may not be an easy way to do it other than having patience and learning and self-monitoring. Okay, I'm getting frustrated right now. This is more about me. Let me take a breath. Let me take a step back. See if I can kind of change the way I'm doing things. I would just say patience.
Okay, so that takes us to...
I have one more thing to say, actually.
Oh, sure, Joelle.
I think that sometimes when we're trying to support someone, sometimes it depends on the situation, but sometimes we focus a lot on the details of the situation and not on what someone is telling us about A, what they need from us in the moment, and B, what they're feeling. And sometimes when a person is communicating in a different way, if you are having trouble with that, Concentrating on the things that they're saying about how they're feeling, validating those feelings, and then going from there. That can often be a starting point instead of like trying to get the little minute details and then going from those like, I guess, more concrete details down to where they're feeling, because that's not always going to feel like validation to them. That's going to feel like a distraction for a lot of people. Not for everyone.
Well said. Well said.
For a lot of people. So.
Yeah, and before we move on, I want to mention that one of my biggest regrets is not being able to implement native closed captioning or live captioning while live closed open captioning. You know what I mean? During our streams, because it's just the software that we use, StreamYard, does not have a built-in option. Facebook rolled out their own automatic captions. They are hit and miss. YouTube has been slowly rolling it out to larger channels. We certainly are not one of those on YouTube, but go check us out anyway. So I definitely, the next show that I do, which I have no announcements to make, I have no idea when that will be, or if it'll even be a show, but I will definitely make sure to use software, especially now that I have a new computer, to use software that has the option to implement live captioning, because it's important, and we have failed pretty much a large portion of a potential audience who is just not able to access this content live. So my apologies to everyone who has not been able to follow along live because we did not have live captioning. Okay. Question number 3, and it is a doozy. It comes all the way from Joel. How has ignorance of neurodiversity led to suicidal thoughts and actions? We'll let Joel answer this one.
In so many ways, and it can almost go back to the last question of Joelle's of the communication differences lead to such invalidation, ableism, thinking that people who communicate or are different are less have less agency, are less capable of knowing what they want, forcing them into therapies or situations that are inherently antagonistic to who they are. All this creates such depths of shame in neurodivergent people, and I think shame is possibly one of the most common feelings in people who are suicidal. It's just this unescapable feeling of having something wrong with you deeply as a person. And when all the messages around you are misunderstanding or forcing you to be who you're not, shame is inevitable.
What say you, Marie?
I am going to echo those sentiments. It's definitely just shame that is created by people not wanting to take a moment to understand, people choosing to not be empathetic, instead of putting yourself in somebody else's shoes and thinking for a second, hey, what would be a good explanation for why this person is doing this, automatically, running to the worst conclusion and, saying somebody with ADHD doesn't clean their room because they're just lazy, or somebody with depression is just, I don't know, useless, or all those things that I heard growing up, that caused me to have suicidal thoughts and take suicidal actions. They were all caused by this idea that I was broken and I was never going to fit in, and so I might as well have just given up. And all it took really was finding my tribe and finding the people who would say yeah, you can think these things and still you don't, that doesn't mean you're broken. It just means you think these things. The two are not, it doesn't have to be this terrible, terrible thing. And that really changed my life.
I'll tell you what is not a terrible, terrible thing, and that is Hudson's response to question number 2. Or 3, Jesus Christ.
Can I do 3?
Can I do 3?
Yeah. I think, to me, I think the ignorance of neurodiversity is one of those things that I think in 5 or 6 years we'll look back and kind of be amazed at how ignorant we were 5 years ago. even for me, like someone, I would have considered myself at least somewhat educated and aware of neurodivergent issues until I had a son who was neurodivergent. It was not something that I really grasped or understood. And now that I've been in the position of having to defend him, advocate for him, help him advocate for himself, all of those things, it's no wonder that neurodivergent lack of understanding can lead to suicidal thoughts. In our core being, like, we are people that a lot of times want to have contact with other people or relationships. Not everybody, but some. And lack of understanding is a gulf. And anytime there's a perceived lack of understanding or a perceived burdensomeness or anything like that, it's going to lead people to a very dark place.
Joel?
Yes.
I
answered the question.
Didn't
well, I just wanted to see if he had anything else to say, but okay.
Oh, okay.
Do I get to say something?
You definitely did not forget that he answered the question. So that's
You definitely did.
definitely did not.
Okay, well,
Joel and Joelle.
If I may, let us go on to question
Do I get to
number.
answer the question?
I think Joelle should answer.
This is our first show, okay? So you got to give us a break.
I've done this before, so yeah. Okay. How has ignorance of neurodiversity led to? Okay, good. I got the gist. I really think that the concept of neurodiversity is that we all kind of have brains that are going to work a little differently, like that there is not a particular way that, like, a specific model of how the brain works, and that is the right way. So that's the concept of neurodiversity. And there's a lot of ignorance about that concept as a legitimate way that humans are, and a valued way that we are and can be and can function, and how we can move in the world and how we can create a world based on that concept. So when we kind of ignore that concept, we tell people who work a little differently and who see and navigate and engage with the world a little differently that how they are is completely wrong, and that there is one way to be, and that they need to change how they view and engage with and understand the world and themselves to align with that one way. And it's a fucking mess. And in my experience, people tend to assign motives and beliefs and feelings to me based on the idea that that my brain works a certain way, without really consulting me. And it's incredibly damaging, because you're not only invalidating a person's experience, you're also telling them that so you're saying like their experience isn't valid and real. You're also saying that they don't know themselves, they can't possibly, and what they're understanding about themselves is also wrong. Like, it's a wrong way to exist. So everything about them is just wrong and incorrect. Also, kind of this lack of understanding of the concept of neurodiversity, it means that people are assuming that we all want to be neurotypical, and that that's the best way to be. So when you take people who are neurodivergent and tell them, well, you have to try to be neurotypical, like that's the goal, you're getting a lot of people who that doesn't work for them, and it takes so much more energy to suppress who you are. And like Joel said, shame. You're ashamed of who you are, and if you quote unquote mess up, you feel shame and you feel guilt. Like, am I going to expose that I'm neurodivergent? Oh no, shit. Like, so, we really need to have people understand that people are different, brains are different. And that's okay. Like, that's part of the diversity of being human. And that's actually what strengthens us. And we need to look at it like that.
Yes.
Thank you, Joelle. I don't think I've mentioned or I guess praised you enough over this past year for dealing with all of my bullshit as far as like putting this show together and just like this is not easy, okay? Everyone out there, Joelle and I, we lived together. We had a move just about a month ago, and so it's not easy to have two people doing the same show at once in like two different rooms and like two different computers and trying to make it all work, trying to like synchronize schedules and questions.
We also have like no furniture right now, so it's like a little.
Yes, and so and special thank you, Joelle, for not only wanting to do an episode last year on your birthday, but also on mine, and also like 2 days before we moved to Colorado. So.
A lot of sacrifices. You guys made a lot of sacrifices. I don't know that it can be overstated how much that you two did to make the show work the way it did. And I know you're not going to give yourself the proper credit for it, but I think we should take a moment and thank, I mean, obviously Rudy as the host and everything. Yeah, I think good job. Pats on the back. Yeah. But Joelle, you know, being the spouse of somebody, as I have a spouse, being the spouse of somebody who is all up in their own business with their talk show is tough. It's not easy. So I think kudos goes out to both of you.
Yeah.
Well said.
Sorry. What?
No, go on, Joelle.
Oh, I was going to say, well, it helps that I get to come on and like rant for like 5 to 10 minutes about, you know, my shit too. So that helps.
Yeah. And one of the great things is being able to let Joelle speak her truths and being able to bring up topics to discuss, bring up guests. And like you know me, like I like to just step aside. So it's been awesome for all of you, but also Joelle, who like really wasn't a public figure before this show. So I'm glad that you feel comfortable and you've stuck with it for this long, Joelle.
Hell yeah.
Fuck yeah, she has.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
She's been on other shows, actually.
Yeah, no, I mean, like that's the reason why the show is ending, because Joelle has gotten too famous for all of us.
Oh, I mean, I didn't think you were going to say it out loud, but okay, since it's out there.
Yes. So, okay. So on that note, let's go to question number 4, and it is a doozy. And this would be Hudson Harris's question. What does the suicide field need to do to improve research? Take it away, Willie.
So the thing, I've talked about this a lot on this show, and I wanted to highlight it as my last opportunity to use this as a platform, is we need to do research that is targeted towards not just the prototypical NIH research demographic, which is white, middle age, middle class. We really need to do a whole lot of research into communities of color. In the work I'm doing right now in population health, we're doing a whole lot into racial disparities in behavioral health, and the numbers are way worse than probably what anybody even really is aware of. So I really want to encourage anyone out there. The NIH is doing some really interesting things now on changing requirements around participation and demographic requirements in grant submissions because of COVID. And they're opening up a lot more to focus specifically in communities of color, LGBTQ, a whole variety of different population segments. Other than that, write your congressman, write the administration when they'll listen, get them to put more money into suicide research than essential oils. We have 10 top 10 causes of death in the United States, and suicide is the only one that's continuing to go up. And it's because we don't research it. We need to treat it like the public health crisis that it is, focus on the areas that are most afflicted and the most underrepresented.
No, thank you, Hudson. And I actually, another regret, I regret not being able to do a full episode on research funding. So I hope you forgive me.
All good.
What say you, Marie?
I literally want to, and I think I've been getting away scot-free this episode. I want to piggyback off of Hudson. I think he said it really well between the fact that we are not doing enough research with and for minorities. We are also just not doing a really good job paying attention to the research that is out there and funding research so that there's more of it and so that we understand things better. And somebody in a tweet said really well, listen to people with lived experience. I don't know that advocates are being considered as seriously as they should be either.
What say you, Joelle?
I think, I've seen it a little bit, but I think it's only in my tiny little bubble. But I think we need to consider that people are capable of research who don't have PhDs.
Yes.
That people are capable of doing rigorous research of being authors on papers with several other people who have lived experience, who may not have PhDs. And the fact that it's unfortunate because having lived experience introduces all this kind of bullshit that can get in the way of getting a PhD or having opportunities to like get in those spheres where you have research funding, things like that, where you have your own lab or you have your own program or all this shit. So really, people who have access to that funding need to be going and looking for people with lived experience who have an interest in being involved in research. They need to not require a degree, and they need to just require an interest, a desire to learn, like basic knowledge about research, and a commitment to do some of the work. They need to have people who are authors on the paper who have lived experience. They need to involve them as a significant part of research and development of research programs, honestly. Not just, oh, we consulted this person and then threw out half the shit they said. Just stop. Like, you care and want to involve lived experience because it is actually important fucking knowledge that can save lives, or you're just writing down a name and some quotes because it looks good and maybe it'll get you more funding from this segment. So it's one or the other. Just do the fucking work. Get people on board. I'm really frustrated.
Well, I know someone who shouldn't stop, and that's the doctor of Dugonomics himself, Joel Schwartz.
I appreciate your words and frustration, Joelle. In psychologist circles, this is one of the most frustrating things because we are, trained to be scientists in a way. It's called the practitioner scholar model is what most of us were trained under, where we are practitioners but also scholars of research, and so we have scientific training. And I don't know if you guys have come upon the word scientism, which is essentially you can think of it as a religious belief in science, that if something isn't spelled out in a scientific journal with statistics, then it isn't real. And this is a disease that is pervasive among people with degrees, where they just will not listen to lived experience. They will not, they'll say, oh, it's just an anecdote. I'm like, well, 2 to 20,000 people have the same anecdote. Maybe there's something to listen to there. Why do we have to formalize that in a paper for you to actually listen to it? Meanwhile, there's all this pain. The lived research should inform what our research questions should be. And I can go on and on. I can't stand this thread of people. I think luckily the field is moving towards appreciating lived experience, especially as we become more neurodiversity, multiculturally aware, and we are challenging our biases in a much more effective way. That's being taught from the beginning. There's still a good amount of people. They tend to be male. I'm sorry, they are. Who are very, very rigid in the way that they want to apply knowledge. And if you challenge their knowledge, they become extremely defensive and sometimes downright mean and divisive. So I just ranted. I don't know where we even started. But yes, listen to live experience. If your science contradicts lived experience, there has to be a marriage between the two. because science cannot talk about individuals. It can only talk about statistics and social science, that is. And so we need to marry the two. We need to have good science and we need lived experience informing that science.
Well, you didn't think that I wouldn't have a question on my own, right?
Can I say one more thing on that?
Sure.
Okay, so just one more thing, and this is kind of a niche thing. What is the evidence? Anything can really be evidence-based, but what is it doing? Like, what were the actual results? And some of those are like, some of those are that, like, the results change, like, sorry.
She agrees with you, if that helps. She's definitely agreeing.
She's like, whoa. So, I mean, you know, and I'm going to bring it up. ABA is one of those fucking things.
Yes, it is.
People say that ABA is evidence-based. So I'm never going to say that ABA does not ever do what it claims to do. And what ABA claims to do is change observable behaviors. Okay? And that is what people scream at me, that it is evidence-based. And this is just an example of a thing that I'm talking about. But ABA does not necessarily improve internal experience, improve emotional awareness, improve necessarily quality of life for autistics. And so when I say that these are the fucking problems with ABA, people scream at me that it is evidence-based. It is evidence-based, short-term, by the way, that it changes behaviors. That's all. So we got to stop being like, it's evidence-based, evidence-based, evidence-based. And we really need to dig into, what is this evidence? What is it actually saying? And what are the people with lived experience reporting about these outcomes? Like, do these outcomes actually mean anything long-term? Are they actually improving quality of life? Are they actually saving lives? Like 2 months, 4 months down the road, 6 months down the road, after they're out of the study? Half the time, I don't think we know. So, okay, I'm done.
Nuclear bombs are evidence-based too, but how you use nuclear, fusion and fission is a matter of opinion, right? So just being evidence-based doesn't mean a damn thing. It's how you use it.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so question number 5, and it is a doozy. That's not my favorite word, but I'm glad that I felt like I popularized that. So it is a doozy, and so I don't have a graphic for this because I want everyone on screen at the same time.
The word doozy?
So, yes.
You don't have a graphic for the word doozy?
I ran out of time. Okay. So what is one achievement in the past year, advocacy or otherwise, that you are most proud of? And let's go to Marie.
I wrote a book.
Let's just put everyone. Sorry.
Okay. All right. I was zoomed in and I was like, but I wrote a book and I'm really, no, stop it. Giving me motion sickness. But I'm like afraid to speak. Yeah, so I wrote a freaking book, and I remember just, I don't know, 5 years ago when I was at having my first suicidal episode where I was like, I'll never be able to do this thing and I will just die. I would rather just die now because that's how I feel, knowing that like I will never be able to create this because my disability prevents me from being able to sit down and write something. And I wrote and published a freaking book. So
fuck yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Now,
it's behind Rudy. Like that's mind blowing. That is mind blowing to me.
Mine has still gotten lost in the mail, which is sad, but that's okay.
Wait, what are you talking about? Oh, it's because I haven't ordered them since I moved. That because you wanted a signed one, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, that's a separate problem.
Where I get a signed copy and an invite to your Christmas party.
Okay. Well, the Christmas party, I don't know if you heard there's a pandemic, so there's no Christmas party. It's canceled, but the signed copy is going to make its way.
Online Christmas party?
We should do it. Yeah. SPSM Chat online Christmas party.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I hope you all know, Joelle, Hudson, Marie, we're not getting rid of each other, okay? We're all still going.
I thought I was supposed to block you on every platform now. It's not a breakup.
No,
fine.
I mean, I blocked you on Mixer, so that's why you don't see any of our posts anymore.
It hurts every time.
Okay. No. But
I have some plans after this, but I need a few months to get my shit together.
yeah. So just so you all know, like we're all gonna do our own little projects and everything, but you might see Joelle do something and Hudson pops up on it, or Joel might do something and Hudson might pop up on it, and then Marie might do something and Hudson might
Marie's
pop up
always
on
doing something.
Yeah.
What?
3 days a week,
Big boy.
live.
And Hudson might do something.
Yeah.
So
Might, probably not.
let's get
love
Joelle's response. What's one?
Sorry.
All right.
No,
What,
I'm going to say something.
sure.
I think that one of the most underrepresented people in suicide prevention and mental health in general are people that aren't practitioners and providers and peer specialists. And you guys brought me on, and I had no business being on. And so, I appreciate that. You guys gave credence to what I thought, even though that I don't have Hamlet. Get out of the trash. Might have been because of Hamlet. But I love it. Like, you guys gave me space to talk about what my experience was and what I thought. And, I really appreciate that.
And you know what, Hudson? Like, I was worried, like, when I asked you that you'd say no because you thought, like, you were too old for us.
Okay, yeah, I mean, yes. Those were some of the sentiments he expressed at the time.
That I'm too old? I'm 38.
Yeah. I think Joelle, Hudson, and I are around the same age.
Yeah. Well, I
That's
mean,
why
like,
I'm so confused.
Right.
Out of the trash.
yeah. Well, I asked Joel, like, first, like, when I asked all of you, and he couldn't do it. So it took a pandemic for him to finally break down and be a part of our team. So thank you, Joel. Okay.
You're welcome.
So
No one
Joelle, what is one achievement that you've had in the past year, advocacy otherwise, that you're most proud of?
Well, a couple of them didn't happen because of bullshit, but so let's I mean, like, I am super, I guess, proud, but like also excited. I think, okay, so proud. I'm kind of working through this. I am really proud that I'm at the job I am right now, because it's, in peer specialist jobs, they're kind of a crapshoot right now. There's what the role should be, and there's what it ends up being so often, because it's so co-opted and turned into like this clinical mishmash that it really just shouldn't be. So finding an organization that truly values the ideals of peer support and really lets us do the things that we need to do, and gives us the freedom to do that and the trust to do that. It's a very unique experience. And I want to say, honestly, for the past, how old am I? For the past maybe decade and a half, I've been looking for a place that actually checks those boxes. And you'd think it wouldn't be that hard, because this is a defined role with defined ethics. Like, everyone knows these ethics, what we should do, what we should not do, and like that the role is valuable. So, I am really glad that I've kind of stuck to those ethics. And when it didn't work and they weren't aligning with what I know, I was like, fuck this, I can't do it. And that's been really, really hard. And so I'm actually really proud that, like, I've made it this far to a place that I finally feel like does align with those. And I feel really good at what I'm doing. So that's not proud for just this year. It's like proud for like half my life.
Yeah. Can we take a step back and just like, it is amazing what has happened in this past year since last August. Like, not just between all of us, but the whole world, everything in between.
Time
and the fact
matter.
the fact that we made it this long is just amazing. As a show, as people, as a species, it's just.
You texted me and you said, it's a year, so we're doing our final show. And I was like, let's stop at the year thing. It's been a year. First of all, I couldn't decide if it was actually just 6 months. And then I was like, I feel like it's been 3 years, but then also maybe it was recent. Like I have no concept of time, zero. And that's not just like an ADHD thing. It's a what is happening with the world kind of thing.
It actually is an ADHD thing
It is
too.
an ADHD. No, I do know it is an ADHD thing. And so I always check with my husband. I'm like, yeah, does time matter? Because it doesn't really matter to me, but is it mattering to you? And he's like, no. And I'm like, okay, so this is something that
has an asterisk.
Totally pivoting aside really quickly. I have a friend at Chicago School of Professional Psychology who's doing studies on the core difference of ADHD being time blindness. So that is like a thing that we all experience. I'm ADHD too.
Oh, hey, buddy.
I just want to say my ADHD, like I felt like I was doing okay with ADHD and depression. And then like a few weeks to a month ago, all of a sudden, like none of the meds worked. Like my coping skills, like everything just like kind of went, and all of a sudden, like the ADHD was like, oh, you thought you could handle this. Like it's just been like
oh no.
Yeah, it's been weird. So like I'm writing it out, but like it has definitely been like the worst it's been in I don't know how. I'm just kidding. That was a joke. I don't know how long. Like it's been pretty intense.
Okay. Well, since we,
I'm gonna do it again. No, the other thing that I'm really proud of is that I finally got back on my ADD meds after being off of them for like over a year and a half and being like, this is fine. Like, I could do this. It's fine. And then I was back on them for like a week. I was like, what was I thinking? So I'm actually really proud that I like got it together and like faced being scared of doctors and like got back on, and I feel like my brain is a little bit fine now.
Thank you, Gwendolyn.
Oh, I didn't know you can see these things. Okay. So Hudson, what's one thing? What's an achievement, advocacy or otherwise that I think one of the big things that you've really made public to the world is how much big essential oil takes away from suicide prevention funding. So thank you for that. But I digress. Please go on, Hudson.
2019 was a pretty bad year. And I had people that I really trusted to tell me the truth and look out for me, tell me that I wasn't going to be anything without them, that I couldn't make it on my own, that I didn't know what behavioral health was. And I rejected that flatly. And here, 3 months after that, I was helping craft the strategy to redesign behavioral health for San Diego for the county board. And then now I am 6 months into being the population health strategist for the second largest mental health authority in the country for a county. I'm working on shit across the board, from how to eliminate racial disparities in treatment and in structure, to care coordination, to justice involved pediatrics. It's goosebumps. It's a dream. And like I go into meetings and they're like, but you don't have any behavioral health experience. And I've literally had my boss go, that's how it used to be, but now we have someone who can help us with this. And that has been, I think, one of the most proud things is that I took a huge leap, and I left in May of last year with one $75 an hour client for a few hours a week. And now I'm full-time in behavioral health system design doing population health.
Amazing. Amazing.
Yeah. Can we all just take a second just to praise Hudson and how he is. Hudson, you are the unit of SPSM Chat 3.0.
You just said you were the unit.
Congrats, Hudson. That's awesome.
Thank you, Joel.
That's really wonderful.
Joel, what's one
really
achievement?
Amazing.
That was pretty great.
Okay, so I'm gonna kind of this is a bunch of achievements rolled into one, which is kind of also a sort of announcement. I'm ADHD as well, and one of the ADHD superpowers is the ability to be incredibly creative and outside the box thinker in crisis situations. Mm-hmm. And I also have immediate family members who are autistic, and they have been slowly having their energy sucked from them living in the Torrance area, which has a lot more traffic and pollution and human noise, and it's just been too much over the last few years. And when COVID hit, I was able to implement some really amazing ideas to restructure the way I do business, to start Schwartz Neurodiversity Services, to move online, and the success has allowed us to pay off some things and opened us up to move. So we're going to move to the San Luis Obispo area on an acre of land where we're going to have farming and maybe horses, and do equine therapy. We'll see. The equine therapy may or may not happen. But we've been able to do all of this, and partially it's because of my ADHD craziness, hyper focus, ability to think out of the box, and hard work. And it's also a lesson of why neurodiversity kicks ass and why we need to affirm neurodiversity, because had I followed the path of shame and normalcy, I would not have been able to embrace who I am in this way and kick butt in the last few months. So yay neurodiversity, yay me. Thank you, Hudson. I appreciate that.
Yeah, and thank you, Joel. Congrats. Hope everything goes right in the move. It's it's just funny how things just work out, and you plan for things, you hope for things, and things just change, and hopefully for the better. I mean, I know, like Marie, you had a setback with Mixer closing, and then Twitch, you went back to Twitch, not sure what was going to happen, and then things are going well there as well. And Joelle and I, we moved. Actually, like the reason why we were able to move is because I got fired from the Mighty, so. That's a whole nother story, and everything that's gone on with Hudson as well. I know you've been on quite the journey, and it's just nice that with all the suckiness that is going on in the world, that we've been able to persevere, and we've been able to find ways to survive and to thrive. So I know that once this show is over, all of you are going to still continue doing great things. And I hope, I feel like I'm the most unsure out of everyone here about like what exactly they're going to do next.
That's not true.
But Rudy, that's the best part. Like when I left in May, literally I had one client for 3 hours a week for $75, and I had no fucking idea what I was going to do. Don't look at it as like I'm afraid of this. Look at it this, you've got a blank canvas. You want help, you want a storyboard, you want like, I am so fucking good at helping people map shit out and dream board and vision board or essential oil boards, whatever you want to do. Call me, we'll FaceTime for 3 or 4 hours, and we will map that shit out, brother.
Yeah.
Well, I am definitely not bored when I talk to all of you. So thank you all. And as for my achievement, I mean, I've had quite a few. I'm glad I was able to do a couple of storytelling events before COVID hit, and like in person, and because I don't know when that's going to happen again. So I got to work with a domestic violence advocacy group, and got to feature stories of people who have been victims of domestic violence and have survived and thrived. And that was like on March 8th, International Women's Day. And then like a week after that, everything closed down. So I was glad I was able to get that in. I did a suicide prevention one the September before that. Thankfully, Marie was able to cover me that night. Did a great job. Talked to Dr. Bean. That was awesome.
No, the toilets were flooded. It was terrible. I left the house on fire.
No, well, I was glad that you did that though, because I know you've got a million other things that you're doing. So
no, never enough. Thank you.
And yeah, you used to make the graphics too. It's like, oh my God, like I felt like I was putting so much on you. And so thank you for doing all that. And so, of course, there's this SPSM Chat 3.0. You know, when we started this, when I took over the reins, like I didn't know how long this was going to last. I didn't know what we were like. I felt like we would run out of steam by the end of the year. It's very hard to try to coordinate all of this, to get all these people together, book guests every single week. I mean, we've only taken like 3 or 4 weeks off for like Thanksgiving and Christmas, and that's about it. And so we all deserve to be commended. But yeah,
Especially you.
rough weeks. We had some rough weeks. We had some complete abortions. We've had some great episodes. We've had some amazing guests who I'm really proud to have featured, who normally probably would not have been on SPSM Chat or not been on a major platform. I want to give a shout out specifically to Brandon Johnson, who took over the show a month ago. Which I feel so bad because I never thanked him on the show. And so thank you, Brandon, for taking over the show a couple weeks ago to be able to talk about Black mental health, featuring all Black mental health advocates, because I think that's very important. And for us non-Black folk to step aside, the world's not going to end, to be able to discuss in their own words with no interruptions from people like us. So that was awesome. But yeah, a year. And I'm glad that we ended here on our 1 year anniversary, because I really feel like we've really, even though there's things that obviously we didn't get to talk about, like I felt like we're ending on a high note. We accomplished so much, and unlike most other things, I'm not going to keep doing it until like it becomes awkward and weird. So ending on our 1 year anniversary, amazing people like Marie Shanley, like Joelle Marie, like Joel Schwartz, Dr. Joel Schwartz, who I am so glad that we were able to connect through this. I had known Joel from a past life, so I'm glad that we were able to make this work, and I'm glad that we're going to keep being able to find ways to connect with each other. Hudson Harris, Hudson Harris, I appreciate you so much. I'm so glad that, because I mean, like Hudson and I, we knew each other kind of well. Like we met at in DC at the AES conference, but definitely through this, we've been able to get really close. And I'm just so glad, all of you. And so, and Carly, Carly's not here this week. She was with me last week, her and Nyla Burton. So I'm glad that she was able to join our crew. So I think she's out camping right now. But
you forgot someone. You forgot someone though, Rudy.
Yeah, very important.
Yes, Piggy.
The Piggy.
Piggy. Give me 1 second, Hudson. Because we'll get to final thoughts.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were saying goodbye to all the cast members. I figured.
No, we still got like 20 more minutes. So,
really?
Yes,
Cutie.
but
Wait,
Hamlet
really?
and anime and there's one other person who is not able to. Are we good here?
Yeah, keep going.
Okay.
Yeah,
So I just
Piggy
wanted to
quick.
make sure I gave a little bit of recognition to Danielle Glick, who left us quite a while ago. And I know we didn't end on the best of terms, but just know, Danielle, I know you're out there. Hopefully you're watching this, and we appreciate the time that you were able to devote to SPSM Chat. And I personally wish you all on all of your endeavors and your schooling and everything. So thank you for that. And I'll do the other thank yous at the very end. So let's go to final thoughts. Take it away, Marie.
I love you guys. I love you guys so much. And I just want to point out that Hamlet has literally grown from he literally was in the palm of Hudson's hand when we saw him the first episode, and he waved his little hoovy, and he's a grown ham now. And I feel like we're all grown hams a little bit, and we've all changed. And Joel, I'm sorry I didn't get to talk to you more, but I'm excited that we got to meet now. Better late than never.
Likewise.
But
of all episodes.
of all the episodes. But just thank you. I just so much. I feel so much love in my heart when I think of you guys. And thank you, Rudy, for bringing us all together, putting us all together onto one screen, and for the copious amount of work that this was, that you pretended it wasn't, just to keep yourself sane and also to make this seem seamless. But like, thank you. It's very appreciated.
No, thank you, Marie. And I will say above all, like my best accomplishment is bringing all of you together, you amazing people, and the guests. The guests were awesome as well, but I really felt like we were all a family. And so even though like we are going to go do our different things, we're not going to be doing SPSM Chat anymore, at least not us, that I hope that we can all stay in touch with each other and lift each other up and keep lifting up others, Marie. So do you have anything else going on in your world, Marie?
Oh yeah, please, if you want to continue talking to me for some reason, twitch.tv/Mxiety is the best place to find me. And we have discussions there live about mental health and suicide and all the things. And on Fridays, we are now doing positive news segments. So like super fun. And yeah, this isn't goodbye. I have like all of your phone numbers. Whatever, man. This isn't goodbye. So like next.
How did you get Joel's number?
I said like all of your phone numbers, so it's about minus.
Well,
plus
she's
minus.
on the group. If she's on the group text feed, then we
Okay. So you got a Twitch event coming up soon. You want to plug that real quick?
Oh, yeah, that's the thing. August 26th, we are going to be hosting a mental health startup Twitch pitch. So there is a link in a quote tweet that I made, so you can go over to my Twitter and you can check it out. And there's a link to apply to pitch your mental health startup. So I hope to see you all there. That is
yes, at Mxiety. And how can people buy your book?
Mxiety.com/book will lead you out to Amazon and everywhere. But if you search for Mxiety on Amazon or Barnes & Noble, my book pops up, which is wild. Rudy, thank you for like prompting me, because apparently I have no way of promoting myself. I've never done this before.
Oh, I'm the worst. Like this was like one of the few episodes where I actually introduced myself at the beginning. So
good. Yeah, I'm very proud of you. We all grew today.
Thank you, Joelle. Final thoughts. Final thoughts.
I don't know. I mean, I am glad that I did this. I think a lot of people don't really know, but I was very, I guess, like online involved. I guess I was very online visible back when I was a youngin', in terms of like mental health stuff, at least in my own little sphere. I was not, doing streaming or whatever, but in terms of, I guess, mental health, social discussions and shit. And that was a little rough. And so I kind of stopped doing that for a while. But, I'm very glad that I got the chance to do this, and say some stuff that, we don't always have the opportunity to say. Having these discussions has been really important to me, and it's kind of one of the ways that I de-stress. So it was a little difficult to know that I wouldn't be able to do it anymore. So that was hard, but if I can't really commit a lot of effort to it, I don't want to be half-assing it. So, but I do have some kind of things in the back of my head that when I get a little more settled here in Colorado, I'm probably gonna do now and then, probably on autism, neurodiversity, accessibility, all that good shit. So, yeah. Yep.
Yes, and I just want to wish you a happy early birthday. Your birthday is in 2 days, so
Happy early birthday,
Joelle.
Thank you.
We're gonna have some African duck stew tomorrow.
No, it's not a goat. It's a fucking duck.
Jesus Christ. Okay. Thank you, Joelle Marie. Go follow at Laz for fire content on Twitter.
Thank you.
Joel Schwartz. Final thoughts.
Oh boy, goodbyes are hard. Even though it's not a real goodbye, because we are going to be talking. I really appreciate being invited into this world, because even though I am aware that I am, as a doctor of psychology, that I am part of the man, so to speak, the establishment, to allow somebody as the establishment into this space means that there must be a level of trust and understanding. And, even though I certainly can hang with the establishment folks, and I could be a little bit haughty and pontificate ad nauseum and use big words like pontificate and ad nauseum, I feel much more at home among my neurodivergent counterparts, comrades in arms, and feelings of never quite fitting in, of being different, of my own rebelliousness. I feel very much at home among you all. And I just appreciate being able to be part of this while being able to maintain the job that I get to do as part of the establishment, which I'm trying to bring down from the inside. Just up. And yeah, and you guys are just wonderful. I love you all as well. The beautiful people inside and out. I'm painfully aware of being the least attractive person on all of these. And it's just nice to be among such brilliance.
Well, I think you're a beautiful man, Joel.
Why, thank you.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I'm going to end it there. But at Dr. Joel Schwartz on Twitter. So I appreciate you. Do you got any other social media things going on? I know you're starting a new business. What can people expect from that?
Check out Schwartz Neurodiversity Services. This is going to be big. I hope.
Huge.
Oh God, let's leave that out of this. Yeah, as I said, we're doing education and continuing education and consulting, and we want to spread this wide. I actually have a burgeoning relationship with the Chicago School of Professional Psychology, where they're going to host CEs, but also, and I'm really excited about this, this is kind of the next step in the future, is pushing research from a neurodiversity affirming perspective, which is a lot of what Joelle was talking about, where we really use lived experience and a affirming framework to create the research questions. And I'm going to have students at my fingertips who can do this for their dissertations and get published. I'm not very good at research myself, but I'll probably be more like the idea man, and let people who are good at that run off with it. So that's important things going on. And I'm hoping to do other things like write a book, have a YouTube channel, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, we'll definitely have to have you back on the show when that book comes out.
Yay.
Hudson, final thoughts. And I know we got a piggy update one last time.
I'm just going to miss you guys. Not just you guys, the hosts, but also the people that send me messages through Twitter and Facebook. You know, the work that I'm doing now really makes me kind of turtle in and just focus on the government side of work. And I feel like this was my conduit for staying a part of the suicide prevention movement. You know, today is also kind of an emotional day because of my nephew. So it just feels like a lot of loss. I feel really honored to have been a part of the show. It's one of the things I'm most proud of. And I really hope not just through text, but I get to support your projects, your passions, anything that you want. I'm there for you guys, not only you guys, the host, but also our listeners and people who've watched. Keep your piggies close, everybody. Take care of each other.
Yes. Speaking of piggies.
Hamlet says yes. Hamlet agrees.
Okay, Mr. Hamlet.
Yum. Look at those teeth.
Hamlet is now topping 100 pounds.
Oh my God.
He is a chonky ponky.
Oh, they're all gone.
Oh,
There goes the grapes.
Hi, grapes.
He's so well behaved too. That's awesome.
Great.
Yeah, he is the star of the neighborhood. And throughout the pandemic, he has had just a bevy of people. Do you think we can dance for the people? Dance? Yeah! Good job, buddy. That's amazing, considering how large.
We love you, Hamlet.
Love you, Ham.
We've seen you grow up over this past year.
Yeah.
Say bye-bye, Ham.
Bye, Ham.
Hey, baby.
More grapes, please.
Bye, Hamlet.
Bye, Hamlet.
Hi.
All those
Sorry
jowls.
you couldn't play with anime.
Oh my goodness.
You made him sad.
Oh. It's okay. Oh my God, look at that eye.
I bet there's people who are watching right now who are just have no clue what's going on.
Who just
We haven't had
tuned in
Hamlet
and
on
they're
in a
like,
while, so.
I thought I was watching suicide prevention. Why is there a pig on the screen?
Because anybody who's thinking about doing it is going to pause at least for a second right now.
Super pig social media.
Yeah. I think we got one extra viewer on that, so that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I think we got our fix.
Oh boy. We're back. Oh God, not this awful. This GIF is so scary.
I knew you were going to do it again.
All right, any other final thoughts, Hudson Harris?
Just take care of each other. We're going through some pretty big cognitive burnout there with everything. Just give each other some grace and oh shit! Hamlet jumped up. I didn't know you were that agile, buddy. Yeah, good job.
Brad.
Hi guys. Hey fans.
Okay,
Fans.
are we ready to wrap this mother up?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Okay, so before we end, I want to make sure I give some last minute shout outs to our guests over this past year. So hopefully I'm not forgetting any because I'm just reading this from a YouTube SPSM 3.0 playlist. Okay. Thank you, Chrissy Hodges. Thank you, Mary Angela Abeo. Thank you, Mark Hennick. And thank you, Tony Bean. Thank you, Sarah Schuster. Thank you, Desiree L. Stage 3 different times. Jess Stolman Rainey like 3 different times. Thank you, Dr. Kimya and Dennis. Thank you, Dr. Jesse Gold. Thank you, Ursula Whiteside. Thank you, Melody Moisey. Thank you, Sheila Weller. Thank you, Melissa Wiedner. Thank you, Heather Funk Palacios. Thank you, Jennifer Sterling. There we go. Thank you, Shelby Rowe. Thank you. Who was the video game person we had on, Marie?
Anthony Bean.
No, the woman.
Oh, the woman, Kelly Dunlap.
Kelly Dunlap. There you go.
And we also had Dr. B on.
Yes, thank you, Dr. B. I appreciate you. Thank you, Nona Wells. Thank you, Dr. B. Thank you, Victoria Maxwell. Thank you, Lydia XZ and Shane Newmeyer. Thank you, Ashley J. Thank you, Anya Burchek. Thank you, Gabe Howard. Thank you, Andrea Puckett. Thank you, Julia Brogley. Thank you, Katie Gordon. Thank you, Janet Schnell, and thank you, Janine Hoff. Thank you, Joseph Pinola. Thank you, Sula Johnson. Thank you, Brandon Johnson again. Thank you, Chrissy Hodges again. Thank you, Katie Gordon again. Thank you, Nyla Burton again.
Oh.
And thank you all.
We're playing you off.
Well, before we wrap up, the next time you get that notification that SPSM Chat is live, you will be seeing, not us. You will not be seeing us. You will be seeing Ashley J, who will be our new host for SPSM Chat. So SPSM Chat lives on. So I fully trust Ashley, who was one of our guests previously on Black Mental Health. So treat her well, be nice to her, and that's going to do it. Instead of just having one person do a sign off, I want to make sure everyone else can do a sign off. So Marie Shanley, sign us off.
Keep your piggies close.
Joelle Marie, sign us off.
Hold your piggies close.
Damn it! I always get it. Oh.
Joel Schwartz, sign us off.
Hold your piggies close. Hold your piggies close. Hold your piggies close. Hold your piggies close. Woo, woo, cha.
Hudson Harris, sign us off.
From Hamlet to me to you, it's been an absolute adventure. Keep your snuffling and snuffle your way into somebody's heart and make them feel good. And thank you, Rudy, for everything.
Thank you, Rudy.
Love you, man.
Thank you, Rudy.
I'm like choked up over here. I don't know about anybody else, but thank you, Rudy, so much.
There's nothing I could say to thank you, Rudy, so I won't.
Until next time, hold Your piggies. Close.